Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a fascinating dive into the science, history, and modern evolution of coconut water. Whether you're an athlete looking for an edge, maybe trying to naturally soothe your digestion, or honestly just looking for the ultimate refreshing, chemical-free summer drink, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's jump right into the source material and see how the liquid inside a tropical fruit turned into a modern hydration powerhouse. So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the tree of life, dig into the science of hydration, look at digestion and natural medicine, explore the rise of powder mixes, and wrap up with cautions and final thoughts. Basically, we're tracking this drink from ancient Ayurvedic medicine right to today's super convenient hydration powders. All right, Section 1, the tree of life. You know, in traditional coconut growing regions, the coconut palm is often called kalpavriksha. That translates to the tree of life. And honestly, it makes total sense. Literally every part of this tree has been used for centuries. Trunk and leaves for building, fibers for ropes, and the fruit itself is just this incredible source of food and medicine. It's a plant that has practically sustained millions of people all over the globe. And as we can see in this academic review from the Journal of Pharmaceutical Research International, relying on coconut water is not some new, trendy wellness fad. Hundreds of years ago, sailors in Polynesia, Micronesia, and Melanesia actually used the juice, the fruit endosperm, as a critical water reserve. They relied on this pure, sterile liquid to survive massive ocean voyages way before the era of those neon-colored sports drinks we have today. It really was the original survival beverage. Moving on to Section 2, the science of hydration. Okay, the biochemistry here is where it gets really cool. Coconut water is naturally isotonic. That means it is packed with essential inorganic elements like potassium, sodium, and magnesium. And these aren't just random minerals, they actually perfectly govern the osmotic pressure in our live cells. So when you're out there sweating in the summer heat, you're losing electrolytes. Coconut water steps in as this completely natural, chemical-free way to replace them, keeping the fluid balance inside and outside your cells totally dialed in. To put that into a real-world perspective, researchers at NIT Faridabad ran a hydration study on endurance athletes. They basically put plain water up against coconut water for post-exercise rehydration. And what they found was that both were highly effective at maintaining resting systolic blood pressure. But the coconut water users showed a slightly lower post-exercise systolic pressure, 136.5 millimeters of mercury compared to 141.1 for plain water. It just goes to show this natural liquid holds its own against standard hydration protocols. But beyond just rehydrating, there's a pretty massive cardiovascular impact too. Another clinical study we looked at showed that drinking coconut water regularly actually reduced systolic blood pressure by 10.6 millimeters of mercury in severely hypertensive patients. I mean, 10.6! That is a highly significant drop just from a completely natural dietary tweak.
And that dramatic blood pressure drop, it's largely driven by its massive potassium content. To give you a sense of scale, commercial organic coconut water powders can retain up to 1,830 milligrams of potassium per 100 grams. That's huge. Potassium is a well-known vasodilator, which is just a fancy way of saying it relaxes your blood vessels. And that directly contributes to bringing that blood pressure down.
Which brings us to Section 3, digestion and natural medicine. So, does coconut water make you poop? Yeah, it's a super direct question, but according to Your Health magazine, gastroenterologists get asked this all the time. People really want to know if they can just skip the pharmacy aisle and use this tropical drink as a natural remedy for constipation.
Well, the scientifically backed answer is absolutely yes, and it works for this powerful little trifecta. First up, the magnesium in coconuts acts like a natural stool softener. It draws water into the bowel and relaxes the intestinal muscles. Second, you get a massive hydration boost that efficiently moves waste through your system, which is key since dehydration is a huge cause of constipation. And third, all that potassium tightly regulates your overall digestive fluid balance.
But wait, the medical benefits go way beyond just basic digestion. Research highlights that the most abundant fatty acid in coconuts is lauric acid. When your body breaks that down, these medium-chain fatty acids actually act as potent antibacterial agents. They literally dissolve the protective lipid membranes of certain bacteria. So we're talking about properties that can effectively fight off stomach ulcers, sinus infections, and even nasty foodborne illnesses. How crazy is that? All right, let's look at Section 4, the rise of powder mixes. This is where modern manufacturing perfectly meets ancient Ayurvedic wisdom. Wellness companies like Flabia Ayurveda have totally capitalized on these benefits, creating incredibly portable solutions. We're talking about 12-gram powder sachets like their coconut water mix, which retails for around 300 rupees. They're designed to give you that chemical-free hydration and mimic the fresh fruit's nutrition, but in a super convenient format. That's basically aiming to be the revolutionary hit drink of the summer.
It totally removes the hassle of trying to crack open a fresh coconut. You just take this powdered supplement, add one 12-gram sachet to about 250 to 300 milliliters of water, mix it up, and you're good to go. It is a textbook example of how the modern wellness industry is making traditional, natural remedies accessible for our busy lives.
And if you look at the commercial claims on their packaging, they directly mirror the historical Ayurvedic uses and all that biochemistry we've been unpacking today. They highlight natural electrolyte restoration, regulating bowel movements, increasing blood circulation, and detoxifying to reduce inflammation. It is genuinely fascinating to see clinical data and commercial marketing essentially speaking the exact same language. Finally, let's get into Section 5, Cautions and Final Thoughts.
Because we have to be completely impartial here, let's look at WebMD's clinical cautions. First, even though it's natural, it does contain calories and natural sugars, so if you're on a strict diet, you still need to monitor that. Second, and this is a big one, that massive potassium content we were just praising, it can actually be really dangerous for people with kidney issues. If your body struggles to filter out excess potassium, it can lead to a serious condition called hyperkalemia. And lastly, despite being an electrolyte powerhouse, it honestly doesn't have enough sodium for folks with conditions like cystic fibrosis who need heavy salt replenishment.
So the real takeaway from this explainer is recognizing that even the greatest natural remedies need a balanced approach. Coconut water is undeniably a brilliant, hydrating marvel of nature. But to safely work it into our modern health routines, we have to respect its potent chemical makeup, meaning we embrace the benefits, but we don't ignore the limitations.
Keeping those powerful benefits and the medical realities in mind, I want to leave you with this thought. As the summer heat rises and we're all looking for chemical-free alternatives to those sugary sports drinks, are natural electrolyte powders the revolutionary future of your daily hydration? Thanks for tuning into this explainer, and definitely take a look at your own hydration habits to see where the tree of life might just fit in.